All right, I'm Brent Leary.
I'm Paul Greenberg.
Excuse the intrusion, but we are
Oh,
the CRM
got
Play.
it right. Got it right. I think that's the first.
After three tries, yeah.
Okay, so I'm going out on a limb for my allegiances today.
Look at that. Got the Giants on.
Yes, I. This is one of my sad allegiances. Like how you can be committed to a dysfunctional organization, I don't know, but I am. I
But
can't
of
help
course,
myself.
over top of that,
Well,
you
no,
know,
that's why there is over top of this.
what's funny is I didn't plan this, but I saw this hanging up, and it was a really good gift, and this is really nice. And I have a hard time wearing anything that's not Rams, but this is the Ram color, and it goes with my Rams hat with the old school
Holy
logo.
cow!
So I'm
I
able
honest to
to.
God thought somewhere there was going to be a Rams logo on that. I'm not kidding. I didn't realize that wasn't a Rams thing.
I apparently I can only like teams with this color code. So,
Oh my God.
so
Well,
yeah, this is really
where'd
nice. I mean, I have to tell you, this is nice. It's a
you
shame I'll
get it?
never wear it, huh?
Where'd you get it?
It was a gift from. It was one of those vendor gifts.
Wow.
Yeah.
Highly
I
hyper
also
personalization.
I also have a. I was thinking about busting out my Steph Curry jersey, but I think I might have grown out of it. So I won't.
One of the downsides of this too.
Well, anyway, so I think this is week 3 of
Yeah.
Excuse the Intrusion.
ETI, not to be confused with
That other show, that
other one,
Harden
with
thing.
other people.
Yeah, you
No,
don't want to.
that other ones with that other black and white guy.
Yeah. Well, one of the guys is from New York, isn't
Yeah. Well, actually, I actually fit their other than color at one point. I fit the profile of both of them better than anything.
That's
One's from
right.
New York, the other was from Northwestern.
So if anyone should be able to say excuse the intrusion, yeah.
That's right. We can claim it.
All right, that's cool. All right, so this is good. We got a guest lined up. We're going to bring on a little while, but I wanted to introduce a new segment.
Okay.
We talked about it, and it's something that I think it's happening more and more to not just us, but it seems like everybody is at home, and they're trying to get people's attention, and so they're sending all sorts of invitations to social networks and pitching and all that kind of stuff. So we talked about it. I have it ready for today. We are doing a new segment. It could show up on, excuse the intrusion. It could be on our regular CRM Players weekly, or it could be at the happy hour. It could, wherever it is. So here is what it's called. I'm calling it Protect the Identity, Not the Stupidity. So we're not going to tell people.
PTI, protect the identity.
Wow. Actually,
I want to excuse the no wait.
No, it's almost like PTI NTS.
At least it's not PTI NCIS.
So we want to call attention to things that just irritate us, but we're not going to out anybody by doing it. Does that sound about right?
That sounds.
Okay, so I am going to pop up this image of a LinkedIn invite. I like I said, I'm protecting the identity, but not the stupidity. So I'm popping it up, and this is what the LinkedIn invite. Now, this is somebody who says they want to connect, with me. So that you immediately think there must be some sort of interest. Okay, so here's the invite, and I got it for people to read. I'll read it for you. Hi, I would like you to wait. I would like invite you.
Yeah.
See, that already threw me off right there. I would like to invite you to my network. All right. And then goes right in for it. Here is my post on lead the cash processes in a CRM application. Click here. Your likes, comments, shares will motivate me to keep writing, hoping to get connected. All right. What in there really speaks to me about wanting to connect with this individual who says absolutely nothing about anything I've done or why they'd like to, connect with me, anything
Or
that might have some sort
or
of.
hi Brent. Doesn't even say that.
I know. So we can't say who this is because we are going to protect identity, but this stupidity needs to be outed.
Well, let me comment something to the unknown person there. If likes and shares are the only thing that motivates you to keep writing, then stop writing. That's number one. And number two is, why in God's name do you think I care?
I know. Is it my job? Am I getting paid to motivate this guy? I didn't see any offer for, income or anything like that.
I mean, so.
Yeah, sorry, dude. I just had to get the screenshot before I rejected that one. Okay. So we'll be coming up with, and we actually, if anybody has a good one that send in to us, we'd be glad to bring you in and talk about it because these things need to be outed. We need to stop this stuff.
It's so low grade, man. It's like, well, maybe next week I'll show that. I think you've seen this. I have to find it though. This letter I got years ago from this guy who said, I was writing my original blog, and he writes, "Dear Paul, thank you so much for your blog. It teaches people how to basically why they should buy my stuff." And then he goes on to this whole thing telling me about how I should spend my time talking to him. And literally says, you should spend your time talking to me about this and this and this. It's literally the worst email I ever got in my life.
And it's stuff like that almost wants to not protect the identity of that level of stupidity.
I'll put it this way. These things go to the level of not patriots.
Oh.
That's right. We have to give them the ranking, not patriots.
Yeah. Okay. You earn it.
That's right. You earned the Not Patriot Award.
That's right. All right, so we're gonna bring in we're gonna bring in our guest in a minute, but we want to put out there anybody who's out there watching. This is CRM Playaz Sports Edition, and we want to find out from you because we're going to be posing some questions throughout the day, sports related questions, and we would love to get your take on it or your situation. So here's one I've just been thinking about for a while because I have so many to choose from. So out there, think of the most heartbreaking experience you've had as a fan of a sport or of a team. Something that happened that just snatched the thrill of victory right out of your hands. Something that just ripped your heart right out of your body. Something that I better stop because I'm getting worked up.
I know. I'm afraid.
And I've got so many. But anyway, pick one. Leave it in the comments section. And maybe if it's really something that we could get behind, like something that a Boston fan has a heartbreak for, we'll put it on, actually.
We'll put you on telling about how you were heartbroken.
That's right. Hey, if Bill Belichick
and of course we'll be laughing, but that's
to hide the tears. All right. So with all that said, let's bring in our guest. This is cool. I'm going to ask you to introduce our guest because you just talked to him yesterday.
All right. How are you guys?
Hey, Clark. Pleasure to have you, sir.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Paul. Nice to meet you, Brent. Appreciate it.
To meet you too.
Let me tell you a few things about Clark. And so Clark works for Oracle. He's been there since, what was it?
2 years.
And what was it?
2018.
He has easily the single most interesting work at the company. He runs sports vertical for them. It's really the sports business for them.
Yep.
Right. And catch this. He gets to collaborate with teams. And I honestly, when he and I were talking, I had no idea that Oracle had penetrated the sports world as deeply as they had. So it proves that Clark has done an amazing job. What's the exact title? VP of what? Like?
Oh, I wish. Just regular sales rep. Just application sales manager rep, I think.
I mean, he owns sports, man. Who cares?
If it ain't broke, don't fix it. Huh?
Right. Exactly right. And the other thing, just so everybody here knows, I've already pre-vetted him on his interests, and he is not a Patriots fan. The rest of it we'll get to.
Okay. Oh, I almost stepped in it yesterday. Yep.
Yeah, that was.
What do you mean? What do you mean? He almost stepped in? What is this?
I'll let him explain. So,
okay, you got me nervous here.
Why don't you guys?
I was gonna wear a sweatshirt that has my son's high school on it, and it's Junipero Serra High School here in San Mateo. It's Tom Brady's alma mater.
But that's more by geography, not by like design.
Yeah,
but you can't help it.
But it's still too close, man.
Kind of cutting you some slack.
It's the same blue as your Rams too. It's that same blue. You might not have noticed if I didn't have it, or if I the camera.
I would have.
I could have gotten away with it.
I would have noticed.
Yeah.
No. He's hypersensitivity is the underestimation of the century when it comes to the Rams.
Yeah, I heard your comment on the that sales letter you got a minute ago. So that was not the Patriots.
that meant that they won not the Patriots, or meaning that was something we can hate.
Hey, if that had been a LinkedIn invite from Bill Belichick, yeah, that identity would not have been protected. Let's put it like that.
Mm-hmm.
No. I mean, anybody on the Patriots would never be protected. That's not it. As far as we're concerned, we will expose their names at any given time.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, you shocked me yesterday. You really did.
Yeah, really?
You said that you had, correct me if I'm wrong. It's okay to reveal the number, by the way? Yes, no?
Yep.
Okay. You have 37 team/leagues who actually use the marketing cloud of Oracle, meaning Eloqua.
Yep.
I was blown away by that number. And I want to tell you something. I was speaking to a CIO of a sports team a few minutes ago about you. And I mentioned that level of penetration. I didn't quite go into the number. I just said multiple tens. And they said, really?
Yeah.
They were seriously impressed. So fill us in. First of all.
On how lucky I am to do this?
Well, yeah.
Incredible. I'm waiting for people to start sabotaging me internally so they could take my job. Poisoning my coffee and sending out notes in my name and things like that. But yeah, I lucked out with this. I mean, it's such a phenomenal industry. It's super fun, easy to explain to anybody. And the teams themselves are just incredible to work with. They all help each other. They network. They compete on the field, but not in the marketing department.
Yeah.
So they're open to sharing ideas, and the challenges they're having are fairly similar. Just getting fans engaged. They're competing with television, competing with the weather. They're competing with other opportunities that are going on and getting people back into the stadiums or to stay in stadiums.
Well, what about now? I mean, what kind of communications are they doing now with every sports thing, thing just completely shut down and so much uncertainty about whether leagues will start or even finish. So, what's going on with that now with sports teams?
It's tough. I mean, everybody I work with, even from a personal level, they're used to working at the stadium or the arena. They're all together in the office, and now they're all forced to work from home. And so that was a huge change for them. They're used to the camaraderie and the community. And then just trying to figure out what they can do. A lot of make goods to make up for sponsorships. The sponsorships aren't the broadcast sponsorships. They can't share. They're trying to keep fans engaged. I mean, you see the marble racing stuff. Fans are just hurting. And imagine having a product that you can't sell right now, but they're dying for something. So a couple teams they're trying to do some more sponsorships. They're trying to do online activations of sponsorships they've got. They're trying to get kids engaged. They're trying to share how they're helping the community. And then just trying to get ready. The draft is next week, NFL. I mean, that's still going to happen. So there's a lot of that happening, for the NFL right now. And then hockey and basketball it's a tough one right now. But if they can they can get fans engaged. Online people are watching how many old games have you watched in the last couple of years?
Watching them and listening to them.
Yeah, going back decades, right, Paul?
Yeah.
You watched one 30, 40-year, 50-year-old game.
Well, now, I listened to one literally. I would listen on Major League Baseball channel. I was listening. That's how I fell asleep. I was listening to a 1937 Yankees broadcast with Lou Gehrig coming to the plate.
That's
right,
awesome.
and this was a few nights ago. And Red Barber was like in his first season or second season as the Yankees broadcast. I grew up with Red Barber when he was a 20-year veteran of the Yankees already. And
wow,
yeah, 20 years. Good. This was 19. Twinkle Toes Selkirk comes to the plate. Right,
wow.
I mean, people like that.
Twinkle
last
Toes.
night I went to sleep, conking out, listening to the Yankees Braves. I couldn't. They didn't tell me what year it was. I knew by the players, either 57 or 58. World Series game. Lou Burdette was pitching against.
Oh, that's right. You told me about that. Yeah.
Bob Turley, Eddie Matthews, and Hank Aaron are coming to the plate on the Braves side. Mickey Mantle and Yogi Berra on the Yankees side. It's a treat, actually. Kind of like
that's cool.
Oh, I do the same stuff. I mean, I watch full-on Rams games from the 1980s just to watch Eric Dickerson run.
How different was the radio announcement from what you hear now?
Well, it's
pretty similar.
No, because so you remember, like, there was a golden age of radio broadcasting. This was that kind of broadcasting. It's almost sort of personality-driven process is the best way to put it. Meaning, you had ways you described hits. You had ways you described, and they were pretty much. And then you'd occasionally have some of the personality of the broadcaster pop in, like Red Barber, for example, used to have this expression which was totally made it, and people used to get upset. The powers that be would get upset when he would use them, even though they were totally innocuous. He had this expression about when somebody made a great fielding play look easy. He would say that, well, that was as easy as swallowing boiled okra. The deep South guy,
that's
right?
a Southern thing, yeah.
Right,
Yep.
and but that's the thing. I mean, he had personality, but what the team, the I guess the broadcast companies were expecting was, line drive to first base, caught, right? That level of broadcasting with some emotional expression. And that was it. And so when you're listening to that, it's kind of stylized in that way, but at the same time, it's not as relaxed now. There's not. Color guys aren't like that. They're not as detailed. There's no sabermetrics being talked about. Nobody gives a crap about launch angles, right? They're just talking about what they're just saying what they see on the field. But it still kind of works because, you feel the era when you listen to it now because you have the new context.
I'd rather listen to Red Barber than Joe Buck. I mean,
that's pretty much the entire world would rather listen to anybody.
or Monday Night Football with Joe Tessitore and Booger.
Well, that was, remember, people hated Tim McCarver too.
Deion Sanders really hated Tim McCarver. Yeah. Especially when he pour that bucket of water right on his head.
I know. Well, we have now. I mean, let's say this: in the 30s, you had no baby Stephen A. Smith. Someday we'll put a except in that.
So what are the biggest challenges for sports teams when it comes to leveraging this kind of stuff? Create experiences for their customers, fans.
I think a lot of it is, they take it really seriously. They're the marketing folks I deal with are, they're the gatekeepers to the fans. They're the ones that can, segment audiences, help personalize the messages they send out to them. And when they get mad, they're taking the brunt of it. Of an angry tweet, a complaint about a season ticket invoice that didn't go through or whatever. And those are those times that if someone that you call up at the team knows you and they go, oh yeah, here's your problem, I can fix it right now, then you've got a much better relationship with that team. You fix it. That's that better fan experience. So right now they're doing what they can to get as much information about their fans as possible to know, why the fan is a fan. And then when things come up, a player that went to their same alma mater or a fan from another team, they could send that to that person and say, hey, we have a new player starting. We just got him in the draft. If you want to buy a jersey, here you go. And you could sell them that and get them involved. And I mean, there's no other industry where people tattoo a logo on their arm except Harley Davidson. So those players, they're in, man. They're committed. And I feel that it's hard. I mean, you mentioned before people getting mad at their teams and heartbroken by teams, but a lot of them still come back. So in a marketing sense, you get a little bit of leeway in terms of if you make a mistake, you can always go back and fix it. You know,
one of our prevailing themes has always been sports is potentially the only industry really that doesn't have to worry about creating advocates. It always has to worry about managing them because it has it's built-in advocates. So they have to figure out how to manage them. Now, I know a lot of the experience that people have at stadiums, you know, when they go to stadiums, I mean, you know, it varies from sport to sport. You know, baseball, it's integral part of the experience. Football, try not to go to the stadium. You know, I mean, it's just the way it is. But if you're at a stadium, one way or the other, you are communicating fairly continuously with a mobile device.
Yep.
Now, and that's how you engage at a stadium more often than not, right? Even though you're sitting there and looking straight at a field, you're still communicating with your friends through here. You're saying, look what and then taking a picture of a scoreboard. You're doing whatever, taking pictures on the field, and you're texting them somewhere. But now you're not at stadiums, and yet this device is still a way you have to engage, right? Because ultimately, I'm home, but I'm still checking the news about the Yankees. I'm going on and reading Bleacher Report and The Athletic, and you know, or else I'm communicating with the Yankee CRM guy, which is not a normal fan, nonetheless doing it. Or you know, I'm watching something that's going on live, but I'm watching it on here. I'm not watching on television downstairs. I'm not watching it on this screen. I'm watching it here. You're the marketing cloud of Oracle. You've got 37 teams, leagues, effectively, who have a mobile experience that you're also driving with Eloquist, since I know that happens to be.
Yeah, there's a big tie with mobile. They're pushing for digital
very
tickets.
Strong. So so what are the things that you're doing now? Because the fan engagement has, at least in part, shifted on how it's going to be done on a mobile device. What are you doing to work with that shift?
For sure. I mean, all the teams have most of the teams have a mobile app that you use your ticket. Your ticket goes right to that. Then you've already logged in. They've got your email address and then whatever preferences that you've got. If you fill out any surveys or polls, they can know if you have a couple kids, they can find out who your favorite player is. So then every time you open up your app, say your favorite player is Richard Sherman or Eric Dickerson or anybody else. And every time you open it up, it'll have an Eric Dickerson jersey right there. And if you're male, it'll have a men's jersey. If you're female, it'll have a woman's jersey. Depending on how much other information you get, if your college, anything that helps tie you to some sort of a group, like dog lovers who are Yankees fans. And then you could do some dog park thing where you have two dog parks competing over how many Yankee fans they can squeeze into a dog park. You do that on your mobile app.
The answer now is none.
Yeah, this is before social distancing.
Before social distancing, or at home, or once we can get back out to some bars, you have two competing sports teams or sports bars to see who can get the most people that tweet out or do some sort of a social engagement. And that maybe that team will win something like a jersey, an Eric Dickerson jersey, a framed jersey, signed jersey they could put up at the bar.
How do you do it now? I mean, now you can't go to bars, you can't go to dog parks, you can't go to
now it's going to be more about some teams are looking at sending player emails. They could do an email out. You have 50 people that are Eric Dickerson fans, and maybe have him send an email out, or whoever you're thinking, and that can be personalized to that person. My ideas, and they're not really taking them up on my ideas just yet, but I think the players should start boosting their Instagram pages and challenging other players to contests, push-up contests, or horse.
You're seeing that actually happen kind of organically, like the players are doing it.
Yeah,
like Steph Curry and JaVale McGee, they are already using video before all this happened, but then they kind of up their game, and you're seeing them like different players doing Zoom things, and I think teams are going to start leveraging Zoom to have more interaction with the athletes and the fans. You know, I just saw something really interesting. It was on I think I saw it on LinkedIn. It was a Business Insider article, and it was like LinkedIn editor's choice, and it was a video of Larry Ellison talking about how Zoom is going to change business engagement for everything forever.
Yeah.
And I was like, wow, that for him, and he doesn't really make a lot of, like the article said, he don't make a lot of video appearances like that, but that must really show you just how big and important he thinks that kind of engagement is.
Wow.
Do you see the customer? I mean, do you see the teams starting to leverage that thought process and really beginning to bring that kind of engagement in to get even closer proximity between the fans and the sports?
They're trying to. I mean, it's kind of separate. The business side of it is separate from the player side.
Right.
So they can't really just call up, just go to the cube next door and ask somebody to do commentary on there. Yeah. So, but if they can, they can connect some fans. They could. They're hungry as well. The marketing group, my clients are. I have a Zoom call once a week, and I get about 40 people on that from the teams just to talk about what they're doing. And they're all having challenges. I think the bigger things that are going to move forward in terms of the engagement is if you can tie it to a sponsorship. If you could get, a Grubhub gift card or a free cheeseburger at McDonald's or something like that, or you're drinking Miller Lite or Bud Light and your jersey, and you post that picture, maybe you get some loyalty points if they've got a loyalty program, and just show you're a fan. I think that's the kind of stuff that makes a bigger difference business-wise, because they've got a lot, they're losing money sponsorship-wise. They've got bills to pay. They're trying to help the community too. But I think paid sponsorship would probably be better. Yeah.
Well,
it connects the fans.
Yeah. Well, look, to your point, number of things. First of all, Oracle actually on the Zoom side, Larry Ellison's thing, Oracle has the only branded actual Zoom URL I've actually seen yet. It's
really? Okay.
Zoom.us, right? The only branded one. Well, we were actually talking about Larry's video on another call I had with Oracle this morning, or actually 2 hours ago. So that's one thing interesting. The other thing, just on the numbers, it's pretty clear. Like Zoom went from 5 million to 200 million. Zoom in like no time, right? They went from 50,000 downloads a day to 2 million a day, right? So it was a massive thing. On the team side, I was just chatting with the Phoenix Suns CIO, who will be hopefully once he gets permission from his media folks, will be a guest on our show.
Nice.
And he told me that one of the things all the IT people are doing across all 4 leagues is they're having a Zoom conference call to talk through practices, how to do things at home, how to engage with using what kind of technology tools do they use for like events and meetings. And they're having, and it's a 4-league interaction, right? So, and he said it's a weekly call. So, there's a lot of organic kind of organization in the sports world around how to handle a world without physical attendance, basically, and there's all kinds of other discussion. We've all heard the general discussions going on about, well, the baseball season can happen, but no fans can be in any stadium, and it'll occur in only 2 stadiums, and everyone will rotate through those, and players are going to be sequestered from their families for 5 months, blah, 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 which nobody's going to buy. Ultimately,
that's a hard one.
What players are going to say, okay, that's great. I'm happy to be away from my family for 5 months in the middle of a pandemic, right? Yeah. So I don't think that one's going to fly. But if it does, something's wrong with the sport, actually.
My thought was that they could do that quicker than 5 months too, because you don't have travel time, you don't have to adjust to time zone changes, so you could condense that.
Yeah,
and if they wanted to even a shortened tournament,
well, I know
squeeze that into 2 weeks.
your
fun would
point,
that be?
hockey and basketball are at that point in their season. So,
Yeah.
they could literally just start the playoffs and finish them. Right?
Yeah.
And be done.
And then charge however much they want to the
Yeah.
broadcasters.
Well, yeah,
Yeah.
they'll just
I mean,
pay-per-view.
yeah, imagine that. Yeah. You'd be paying as much as a regular ticket.
Yeah, well, then nobody would watch.
What about I have this thing. It seems like sports teams, they view fans that aren't paying for season tickets as not being real fans, or not being a kind of fan that they're interested in and really engaging on a larger scale. Like, for example, I live in Atlanta. I've never lived in Los Angeles. I've never in my life been to the Coliseum, which I would still love to go to. But I'm not going to be going. I'm not going to be buying a season ticket because I don't live there. But almost every video or anything you ever see me at a conference, I'm always wearing something with the Rams on it. I mean, I'm like the biggest ambassador there is. And, I don't think the Rams would even don't even know I exist, quite honestly, because I'm not a season ticket holder. Is there some way that, because of digital and, your reach is far beyond your local viewing area, there are opportunities for these companies to I say companies, these teams to reach folks who are outside of their viewing area. I mean, look, the Red Sox, the Yankees, they have huge national followings. The Rams don't have that, but I'm here. I would love to have some sort of a relationship with the Rams that doesn't call for me to have to fly 3,000 miles every other Sunday to show that I'm a fan. How can what you guys have, the platform you have, how could they leverage your platform to speak more to folks like me, like who aren't really going to buy a season ticket, but I'm a fan of like anybody else who's in that stands, except for I just live so far away. It doesn't make sense for me to be there.
Yeah, I mean, so it'd be based on how much information you fill out if they do any surveys or polls, and also your digital body language. If you're searching on something, say you're searching for merchandise, and they can put that together that you've searched for Rams merchandise in the past, and then they might promote that. Can you guys hear me okay?
Yeah, you're fine.
Sorry. And so, but you could be on in a segment that says, you don't live in the area, but if the Rams ever come out to Atlanta, you'd be one of the first people they reach out to. And they could have an automated campaign sent out for non-local fans. And those are all over. They want you to show up to an away game. They've got home fans that'll travel, but then any local fans, they love that stuff. And they do like the non-season ticket holders. They know that the season ticket holders might move or change, and they need to replace that. And that's the non-season ticket holders is their growth. I'm a season ticket holder for the 49ers. So I don't think I can spend much more money with them. Right? Some merch, but they split that with Fanatics. At the games, I'm already spending a couple $100 at least on beers and food and all that. Although I can't wait for the free food that they're going to give the season ticket holders. But they also want me to bring other people too. Mm-hmm. So I'm bringing people. It's still a community. The stuff that teams will do around tailgating, around sharing it. I'm really pushing that FOMO, the fear of missing out. If the teams can really present and market themselves that everybody in the stadium is having just a little bit better time than everybody at their own home watch parties or at a bar watching this, it's going to make people want to go. And that's the biggest growth area too, because there's that secondary market is a tough one. They don't get anything from StubHub. Yeah. That sells right. They're losing all of that. So they want season ticket holders to go, or ideally have real fans that'll go, not try and selling those, just people buying the tickets to make money and sell them on the secondary market. But yeah, that growth, and people are changing. Paul, you've got the Giants shirt on. I mean, they have they had the top 3 attendance in the league.
Yeah, I know.
Really? Still?
That may not last forever. They've always got, room to grow, and if their costs go up. So those tickets are all sold, and those are sold throughout. That's a stagnant revenue stream. They got to find more ways to sell. And that's where I'm pushing the sponsorships. There you go. Yeah. Yeah. So the sponsorship revenue, think of any kind of sponsorship that if you do something and it'll bring you closer to the team, because the fans just want to be personal with the team.
Yeah.
They're tattooed the logo on their arm, man. They flaunt that.
Yeah. Again, ready-made advocates. Look, there was a seat conference in Atlanta. Was it 3 years ago now?
I think, yeah.
Yeah, about 3 years ago. And we're having a discussion sitting around at one point, and a friend of Brent and mine, Bruce Colbert, was mentioning that the biggest Falcons fan has never been to a Falcons game. He's watched them all at home, right? Mm-hmm. And but he has the most. He's like Brent. He's deeply committed to the Falcons as Brent is to the Rams, and I am to the Yankees. And so he's always talking about them on all social channels. He's communicating nonstop. He's pushing merchandise out there just because he wants people to root. And he literally has the highest profile of any Falcons fan. But the problem is the team isn't really taking advantage of that and saying, you are our biggest fan, because they're saying, well, he's never been to a game.
And how much merch did he buy? How many jerseys, posters, and flags?
Look at the other level. How much did he influence? Which is
exactly
this guy has I forget the number, but it's tens and tens and tens of thousands of people who listen to him, right? And it's just a network. He's a brand influencer, right? And and they apparently don't recognize it. So I don't know if the Falcons happen to be one of your 37 clients, but.
You can. They need to do maybe a little bit of better social listening, and then mapping that to third-party data. What you're buying on Amazon, what you're searching about, what you're talking about on Facebook, what you're sharing on Twitter, and then you can build that persona. And once you have that, you can start to figure out, 5 or 6 personas, the fan personas, and then you can customize campaigns and programs to engage them even more.
It seems like that during this kind of time period where it's almost like there's a pause going on.
Yeah.
Do you feel like teams are looking to kind of retool and redefine the way that they look at the relationship they have with customers? Because quite honestly, when I go to seat, a lot of what I hear are teams that are really focused on ticket sales and merch and trying to get people to the actual game. When I totally understand that, but it seems like those are only very limited channels. For example, I would pay a couple bucks a month to have access to Rams archive footage of being able to watch old games or that kind of stuff, where I don't have to be in LA, but I would be glad to give some bucks a month for that. I mean, it just seems like there are opportunities to expand their revenue generating activities beyond the traditional season ticket sales and merch and selling hot dogs when I'm in the building.
Yeah, and fan engagement, it's a big topic for all of them, but figuring out how to put the resource behind it, it's funny. I kind of joke around with some of the teams, but this is their David Ayers moment. They're the only ones that have any contact with the teams, is the digital marketing groups, and they can step in and save this. Did you guys get the David Ayers reference? No.
I didn't, but I didn't want to look.
Oh, he was the Zamboni driver for the Hurricanes.
Oh,
remember they stepped in? They go, "Hey, kids, suit up," and he saved the game. A couple 2 months ago, right? Yeah, or maybe a month ago. Wasn't even that long ago. But they're now the ones that can make a big difference, because nobody can go to the stadiums. They can't really do anything. The draft parties are all virtual, And they now have this hungry audience that is dying for it.
What's the
And
relationship? Oh, excuse me. I was going to ask, what's the relationship between the teams and like Fanatics and all those kind of third parties that you typically have to go through to buy the stuff that is team focused? Is that changing? Is that relationship being reimagined or looked at?
Yeah, a little bit. I mean, we can do what's called abandoned cart campaigns, that if someone goes to the site to buy tickets and they change their mind, we can track that and then send them an email or a text or whatever later on. Say, hey, you left this jersey or you left these tickets in a cart. Are you still interested in that? And then that you keep coming back. And then now that person is interested in that particular game. So you can send some more specific specials, or if there's any sponsorship thing, like Kroger may have a sponsored tailgate for that particular game, and you could send that information to them. Same thing with the jerseys and the merch. If they buy that or don't buy it, they go on a site and buy it, not buy it, you can track all of that and then go back and remind them. And they're used to it. I mean, they're used to. You guys probably have Amazon, Netflix. They know what you
Amazon. No.
They recommend. It just hit me the other day. I could not think of anything to watch, and I said, "What is Netflix going to recommend for me?" And people are used to that. So that's kind of the level of engagement that customers are used to, fans are used to. So and they're open to giving up that kind of information too.
But when I go to Fanatics and I put something in my cart and then I, for whatever reason, I don't get it right then and I get the follow-up email, it's not coming from the team though. It's coming from Fanatics.
You can do that.
Do they share that kind of information?
As far as I know, Fanatics manages the sale of the products, and there's a revenue split with the teams.
So do the teams ever get direct contact with a fan that buys something on Fanatics?
I think after they purchased it, I believe. Okay. I'm not sure. I know that after they purchased a ticket through Ticketmaster, that will go back and they'll know that person bought, say, 4 tickets. And then they've got to scramble to track when those tickets get transferred to the next person, because everything's digital, and they get that 100 or how many tickets get transferred 5 minutes before the game while they're standing in line at the gate. So you got to make sure that you've got all clean data and it's up to date. But yeah, that's one of the challenges they have, because the fan goes off their site onto Ticketmaster or off the team site onto Fanatics to make that purchase. So that's that one point in time that they can't really see them clearly, just depending on what they're doing. And so you kind of back into it that, we sent you to a Fanatics site and we can track a little bit of that on what jerseys you might've been looking at. But then after that, we can't follow anything else until a report afterward. Wow. Same thing with the tickets. And that's just something that it's between Ticketmaster and opening up the data. And then, like I mentioned, keeping those the ticket data clean. Because you imagine a season ticket, 1 seat for a season, have 10 home games for football. And then how many times that could change hands, passing that out to different people and making sure that the right person has the right barcode right when he's standing at the gate.
Wow. So I have a question. So this is more of a Oracle team question.
Mm-hmm.
So I think we all know that teams are hyper protective of their logos, like overly protective in my view, like to the point of being ridiculously over. Still a team, man. It's not like God's and the 10 commandments and the tablets. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
Those I could understand protecting if you actually had the real ones. But here's the thing: so you have 37 customers using it. How many of them can you actually name? I know you can name it to yourself. How many can?
I can name. We had 3 that I didn't have a list of who signed who forced us to not. They weren't referenceable, but I can tell you that the Chicago Bulls are a great team. They were going to speak at our MCX conference on the keynote stage, and same with the Bears. And then I was actually going to do my own sports marketing panel with other folks from the Bulls and the Bears, and then Monumental Sports, the Wizards and the Caps.
Oh,
yeah. So those are 2. I can say that we've got over half of the NHL with us about a third of the
I
NBA.
can only speak to the one I know you don't have. San Jose.
Yeah, I know, and I'm local. I'm local.
I
too.
wonder why.
Yeah. Can't have those.
Yeah.
Well,
But
all right.
yeah.
So we gotta ask you some really hard questions now.
All right, I've been watching your old videos.
So we already know that you're not a Patriots fan, so we could just bypass that, which is great. Or else this would have been a really short episode of the CRM Playaz Sports Edition. All right, so I pose a question. What is your most heart-wrenching, heartbreaking memory in sports of your team or a player, your favorite player being traded or your team snatching defeat out of the jaws of victory? What is your absolute worst memory in sports?
Oh man, I would say when Jimmy G turned his knee. Wow. 2 seasons ago, he comes in. We were one of the last 5 games of the season before, starting the season, and everybody was up in an uproar. It was amazing. There was so much potential that year. And then what was that, game 3? He tore a tendon or pulled, and it was out. It was just season ending. And it was just, it just took, because we'd been beat up so many times before that.
I thought you might go with like
Montana getting traded to the Chiefs,
or that Super Bowl where the lights went out.
That was my second. Yeah, that was another one when I hate to say it, we all looked at each other like, "What? It's over?" Like we didn't even believe it. We thought they were going to put more time back on the clock. And what? No, it was stunned. About 5 minutes of just stunned silence that it was over.
Wow.
Hey, Brent. So what's yours, Brent?
There's so many, but of course, losing the first Super Bowl losing the first Super Bowl to the Steelers when I was a kid, that damn near killed me. It took me months to recover from. But then again, losing that first Super Bowl to the Patriots, or losing. That's right. I said it all, you Patriot people out there. We all know what was up with that one. That was tough. Yeah. But what might have hurt the most, the day that Eric Dickerson got traded from the Rams to the Colts.
Did you expect something coming when that happened, or was it just like?
I knew there was something going on because the Rams are notoriously cheap, and he was like the absolute best running back, maybe even best player in the league at that time. And he was only the 21st highest paid running back in the league.
Jesus.
And he kept on saying, look, you need to pay me or let me go. And of course, we all know what happened. But I do, the thing I remember most, it happened on a month. It was the Tuesday after Monday Night Football. The Rams were on. They played the Cleveland Browns, and his very last carry for the Rams was, I believe, a 41-yard touchdown. And they took him out of the game after that.
And that still hurts talking about it, I'll bet.
This happened 30 years ago.
That's what I love about sports. I mean, it's such a cool thing. I mean, okay, I'll bring up Boston one time when the Red Sox won. And I mean, that was amazing. Everybody I knew that from Boston, first thing they did was call their dads.
Yeah, that was cool.
I didn't find it all that appealing.
I know. And I know that there were Yankee fans patting.
That was a tough year, actually. That was a tough ALCS, if I recall.
Yeah, I do too.
All right.
That was not my biggest heartbreak, though.
Okay, so what was your biggest heartbreak?
Mine was, of course, it was Yankees related, so we didn't have that many heartbreaks. But 2001, when if it weren't for the fact that Derek Jeter happened to be about a foot where he could have moved, and it wasn't nobody's fault here. Mariano gives that stupid bloop single up to Luis Gonzalez. And if Jeter literally was like, happened to move about, 6 inches, and not his fault, just happened to be 6 inches somewhere else, I wouldn't have that heartbreaking moment. We would have won the World Series. Yeah. Right. But it was a cheap single. It wasn't like and it was also, keep in mind, 2001, right? So New York,
yeah, right.
yeah, that was like the city was that was like the first healing of the city was that World Series, right? And and again, Mariano, the greatest pitcher in the history of baseball, at least relief pitcher minimally, and one of the greatest pitchers, period, in the history of the sport, and one of the greatest players in the history of sport. And he gives up something that really had nobody. You could have been perfect and still done that, right? And remained perfect after it, right? It was so accidental, right? And that I am already a nervous wreck when those moments are about to happen. And I was literally pacing in and out of the room. And I decided I wasn't even going to watch it. And I left the room. And then all of a sudden I heard a noise and I ran back in and saw it just as it hit the ground. God, that was awful.
Yeah, that's brutal. By
That
the
was
way,
the worst moment ever.
by the way, Alan Berkson is saying this is what old folks do, talk about the things that went wrong. Yeah. All right, Alan. Mr. Jets
glad to
fan.
see you so
My
young.
reference was only a couple years ago.
Yeah.
That was pretty recent, right? That's close
None of
enough.
that. Alan doesn't fit on the young folks side.
Well, what I was going to say is Alan's worst heartbreaking moment is still coming because every time the Jets play a game, it usually ends up pretty bad. So there you go, Alan. How do you like that one?
Yeah, Alan.
Make sure remind me never to cross you guys.
Oh, the good thing is we actually have the podium.
Yeah.
Yeah, he can leave comments, but we can talk.
That's
Yeah.
right.
So this has got to be so much fun for you
Plus,
guys.
we can then edit the comments out.
Oh, our dream is at least my dream is to have Eric Dickerson on this show at some point.
Yeah. Nice.
How would we arrange that? I bet it could be done somehow.
Ask him.
I don't know.
Send
Well,
it.
we got enough connections.
Yeah.
If we operate with the network, we could probably pull something like that off.
Well, you do remember years ago when I said something about Eric Dickerson on Facebook and he actually liked it.
Yeah.
That's cool. What a
I
ride.
damn near lost it. I was like, are you kidding me? Is this real?
Right, that was his greatest moment.
Yeah, that was.
Yeah, I mean, and that's the stuff that people dream of, that connection with the team, that personal connection with the team.
Yeah.
Why you got the best job at Oracle.
Totally. Yeah, exactly. It helps you do that.
Well, you know what? I'm going to give you guys credit. I'm also going to, of course, poke at you a little bit here too. But on the one hand, you recognize all this, where a lot of the other vendors still don't get the idea of marquee value the way it should be gotten, right? And how important it is to emotionally connect with customers around things like sports, which are male, female, doesn't matter. It's bonding. Everyone bonds around this, right? And and you said, I think your new CMO, what's his name again?
Ariel Kelman.
Ariel Kelman.
Yeah.
He gets this. And that to me is wonderful. On the other hand, of course, as I mentioned to you yesterday, I'm astonished. I had no idea that you had 37 teams given 8 years at seat. Right? I had no idea. Right? But that's it. Look, this is your first step into everyone's going to be aware that Oracle has 37 teams.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's great. I mean, it's such a great network to have. And there isn't really anybody else doing that. I started a Slack channel and there's about 100 people from different clients and prospects even that are on this that are just slacking people, asking questions and networking and saying, hey, I'm trying to do this. How do you do that? And then I started an Eloqua user group on LinkedIn. And that was filling a need. Seats, everybody goes to seat, but there's still lots of people left back at the home office that don't go. And they want to network and share too.
Well, we're always glad to come on and speak to them just free of charge.
Yeah.
Have a conversation.
Yeah. Yeah. We'll do more of that. I mean, when Seat comes back around to a live event, I mean, we can do some sort of a sponsorship, entertainment, or I can't commit to any of that, but no,
we
would do something to help. And the end goal would be I
Oh, I'm
realized,
holding you to it. I heard you say.
I realized who might be
I'm
watching.
going to tell Christine tonight.
Just edit it.
Marco's
Just edit that
sponsoring.
right there.
Edited out. Sorry, it's his live stream. So
And,
No, I mean, no, I'm not even saying seed. I'm saying CRM Playaz ETI will come in if you want. This is free educational. We'll
they're
come on and
all
give
over.
free educationals to your guys.
So right now, that's what I'm doing. I'm doing about an hour webinar a week
wow.
to get the teams, and it's all educational. I'm having a product person or a solution engineer or somebody just present on something, because they're all, they still have a job to do. They still have to sell tickets. Football's hopefully moving forward at least at the same timeline, and they're the only ones that can do this. They're like that David Ayers moment. They could come in and save the day here.
Wow.
If they get more engagement, which it could be more merch sales, tie some good sponsorships to that, so you get some sponsorship sales out of it. And then when things open up, people are going to be running to any live sports event they can.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
All over. So it's just waiting for that one thing to happen, and they're getting ready to go. I mean, they're doing it. And so right now they're taking a step back. They're cleaning up their systems, figuring out what they can do, and they get a chance now to really think strategically. Because normally those teams are, they feel like they're short man, they're a man short, playing one man down, and everything changes right up to the game. So emails, content, starting lineups, all that stuff can change. So they got to wait till the last minute to send anything out and notify the fans on what's going on. So they don't have time necessarily to take a step back like right now and really rethink things. And it's having some amazing conversations with teams about putting in, full war rooms where they can pipe in all this data from merch and teasing which tickets, which gates people are going through, the speed at which people are getting into the stadium, what sections are filling up, and then Twitter, what social media is happening, any online sponsorships, and they could put all this up on TVs and make decisions right there. They pull a player off the bench, he comes in and saves the game, and they could have an email, a note, a text message or email ready, sent out to anyone in their list that says, David Ayers just saved the game. You want to buy his jersey? And they could have that right there, one click, and you could purchase a jersey. Or you had such a great time, you want to go to the next game. You bought a lot of hot dogs and give them a couple free hot dogs on Bud Light, at the end of the fourth quarter, if they have a surplus of dogs.
Meet the players stuff too. I mean, I can. Yeah. We don't have time for the show today, but we can talk to that. Actually, at some point we will. Flyers have done that with a lot of really key people over the years. I actually I spoke at SAP stuff at Comerica Park and Wrigley Field a few years ago, and they always brought in an ex-player. Right?
That's so cool.
Player. I think Dan Pasak came in at one point. But like that, I mean, you start bringing in, people to communicate. Retired players just come in and communicate. Do what Green Bay does, man. Just let them wander the bars, right?
That's cool.
The game.
I love Green Bay for that reason. A friend of mine actually used to be a punter from Green Bay, and then the Niners. This is going back in the 80s.
Ooh.
Mike Mancini.
Yeah,
I remember that.
I actually remember that.
And he has this great story when he was at Lambeau Field that the locker room was maybe a quarter mile, half mile from the field, and these kids would hang around outside the locker room, and they would put on the kids would they'd put the kid on the handlebars of their bike, and the players would ride their bikes to the field.
Cool.
Such a cool story.
Green Bay is
love that, and the community involvement there is amazing.
In a future show, Brent, I actually have gone. One of my closest friends in the world, family from Green Bay, and they have seasons tickets, and so I've gotten to go to a couple of games at Lambeau, and I see what the community is like and how they do things and the way they interact with the players and how they tailgate and eating at Curly's and what all that is. I mean, this is a whole thing, but it's actually a whole, again, future episode, but whole story unto itself about how absolutely astonishing the experience is, and it's insanely low tech.
Well, ending on this note, there's a reason I think it's because that team is owned by the community. It's not a single owner. And I think that plays a huge role in that.
Non-voting rights, but owned by the community.
Right.
Yeah.
All right. This has been really fun.
I've enjoyed it. It's been a privilege. Yeah. Thanks for your time.
It's been great.
Yeah, I enjoyed it.
And it's always good when we don't have a Patriots fan on to kind of throw things off. So that's good. But hey, Clark, it's been great, and definitely we'll be in contact. We'll be.
I hope so. Yeah.
And again, I'm not saying that lightly. Brent and I, if you ever want us to come and speak to your group, whatever, no charge to Oracle. We'll do it for free.
Yeah.
Right? And talk to your group about some subject. We'll do educational.
They'd be all over it. They're hungry right now. Yeah.
It's in your hands to decide.
You got it.
All right. So we will be back. We got the happy hour next Wednesday, right?
3:30 p.m. We're already overbooked for that one. So
forget it. In other words, don't worry about it.
However, and we already have tickets, 2 tickets available for the week after, and after that we have a number of tickets, but we have actual people who are booked all the way out to mid-July. So if I were you, sign up for the happy hour. Again, we'll have the link at the bottom of the recorded version of this, and it's worth the time to come.
And of course, next Thursday we'll be back doing CRM Playaz Weekly. And then we'll be back here next Friday talking about sports, hopefully with, somebody that's not going to be rooting for a team we don't like. All right. So, in the meantime, I'm Brent Leary.
I'm Paul Greenberg.
We are the CRM.
Oops, sorry.
Oh, look at that.
Sorry.
In there.
Playing residence.
I just thought I would put a team on.
That's it.
ETI playing residence.
That was awesome. That was my
magic words.
All right. So we are all CRM Playaz. And we will catch you the next time.
All right. Thanks, guys.